Do you have gout? Or do you maybe have pseudo-gout? Have you even heard of pseudo-gout? Do you care whether it's gout or pseudo-gout, seeing as the symptoms are exactly the same? Welcome to SHAPEFIXER. I'm Andrew. I'm a nutritionist. I used to have gout, not pseudo-gout, and I cured it with the correct nutrition. But pseudo-gout is slightly different. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you the difference so that you can understand why the dietary approach to gout or pseudo-gout is not exactly the same, and how you can heal whichever one you actually have. Okay, let's do a quick recap on gout. Okay, I was going to say real gout or traditional gout. There's nothing unreal or non-traditional about pseudo-gout. So let's just talk about gout, the way we've always understood it, and why this type of gout gets to be called gout, and why the other type of gout is got that weird name pseudo-gout, which makes it sound somehow fake. It's not, it's just as real. So gout, big swollen joint, discolored joint, a lot of pain, no mobility, in a joint that is as far away from your heart as possible, which is why it's usually in your big toe, is caused by the accumulation or the buildup of crystals inside the joint, which are, you can imagine you've got this little sac around your joint where your bones are moving against each other and it's stuffed with broken glass. That's what it feels like. And whether you have gout or pseudo-gout, you have crystals in that joint which are jamming it up, making it very painful, causing a massive amount of inflammation and bruising. So it's often red or purple. Gout has always been understood to be a buildup of crystals as a result of too much uric acid in your blood. And it creates uric acid crystals. And this is true, that is how gout forms. And I've done a couple of videos on gout. I did a video about my gout because the story of how I sorted it out was quite interesting and people have found it very useful. So I will link it in the notes down below. Yeah, click a like on this video if you've already seen it. And I will also link it at the end. I then made another one called Your Gout Diet, which contains guidelines of how to change what you're eating so that you can cure your gout. But again, this only applies to gout, okay? Uric acid buildup in your joints. And there are three reasons for this to happen. And very broadly, that is alcohol. The processing of alcohol in your liver leads to the production of high amounts of uric acid into your blood, which can find their way into your joint and cause these crystals. Fructose, or fruit sugar, does the same thing. It goes through the same pathway as alcohol. So you produce uric acid when you break down fructose as well, which is toxic. Now, it sounds weird because that's fruit sugar, and you think, well, how does eating fruit give me gout? It's not just the fruit. There's a lot of fructose added into a lot of processed foods, especially sweetened foods, high fructose corn syrup. We get way, way, way more fructose in our standard diet than we would ever have done in history, and so we are producing too much uric acid. So that's two ways. The third way, and this is quite interesting, is if you are on a high protein diet, and maybe you're on a ketogenic diet, which you should be, so you shouldn't be eating sugar. That's one way of avoiding fructose. So if you're on a high protein diet, but you're not eating enough fat, you're going to be short of energy. So your body is going to start breaking down protein, breaking down amino acids, actually, which are the building blocks of the protein. Your body is going to start breaking down protein to form sugar, to form glucose for your energy requirements. And the process of breaking down amino acids into sugar also releases uric acid. So if, for example, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to be fit, you're going to the gym, you're taking protein powders, which have no fat in them at all, you're cutting down on your sugar, you might be a candidate for gout just because of all those protein powders. Okay, so that's gout. Gout, uric acid crystals, cut down your alcohol, cut down your fructose, make sure you eat enough fat with your protein, and you should be able to sort out your gout. If you're not, you probably have pseudo-gout. Okay, and pseudo-gout, the only difference between gout and pseudo-gout is that pseudo-gout is not uric acid crystals. It's oxalates, oxalic acid, that makes the crystals. So combines with calcium in your blood, makes calcium oxalate crystals. Hey, it looks the same. It feels the same. It's horrible. But you won't cure it just by cutting out fructose, cutting down your alcohol and eating more fat, because the oxalates don't come from those sources. So you need to understand where oxalates come from, and I've done a video on oxalates. I'll link that down here as well, so you can understand oxalates a bit more. You need to cut down on your oxalate intake, and oxalates are very high in things like spinach and kale and most leafy green vegetables. Lettuce is high in oxalates, and also in a lot of nuts, particularly cashew nuts, very high. So you can have oxalic acid crystals in your joint, or you can have uric acid crystals in your joint, and the only way to tell is to have a biopsy. Big needle shoved into your joint to draw some of the fluid out, damages the capsule, potentially damages the cartilage in your joint, is an incredibly painful process and probably costs you quite a lot of money. It's probably not worth it. The damage it will potentially do to your toe joint, you'll end up with osteoarthritis. It's not worth it. Fix your diet, stop eating the things that cause crystals and cause inflammation, and you won't have the problem anymore. Now, if you have gout or pseudo-gout, just understand that you might have both. So your best course of action is to cut out your alcohol, or cut it down as much as you can. Cut out fructose. In fact, just cut out all sugar. You should have done that already. Avoid oxalates, which means most leafy vegetables and nuts. So now you're talking about being on not only on a ketogenic diet, probably on a carnivore diet, but make sure you have a lot of fat with your protein. If you can do those things, whether you have gout or pseudo-gout, it will go away. If you cure it, you can always start putting things back. You say, I really miss my nuts. I'm going to start eating nuts again, and see if that makes it come back. And if it does, it was oxalate crystals. Now, it can take a while to clear, especially the oxalate crystals. They take quite a while to clear out of your joint, and both these uric acid crystals and oxalic acid crystals can also accumulate in your kidneys and give you kidney stones. And in fact, the oxalate kidney stones, that happens way more often. So probably 60 to 80% of people with kidney stones actually have calcium oxalate stones. So again, it's from things like spinach and cashew nuts. Okay, have a look at the videos that I'm linking below here about my gout and about your gout diet, and also about oxalates, because the diet that I talk about in the gout diet video is specifically for gout. Okay, it relates to uric acid. It doesn't relate to oxalic acid. So if you have gout and you've tried my gout diet video and it hasn't worked, that tells you that you have pseudo-gout and you need to cut out oxalates, which is why it's so important for you to watch my video on oxalates. Right, there we go. I hope that's clarified it for you. Please subscribe to this channel and keep up with the new content that we constantly make to try and educate people about their health, about their nutrition, and learn more ways that you can manage your own health without having to rush off to the doctor and go on expensive medications with side effects, or subject yourself to traumatic surgeries when there are very often alternative ways that you can address the problems.